This week, we have 2 bits of IRS news for you. The first one is 5 tips for taxpayers with a change of address, and the other is 7 things you should know about checking the status of your refund. So, let's start with the 5 tips for your change of address. IRS is offering tips for taxpayers who have moved or are about to move. If you've changed your home or business address, make sure you let IRS know to make sure that you receive any refunds or correspondence from the IRS. Remember, if you don't tell them you moved and you're not getting the notices, it's not their fault if you miss all the warnings before they start levying your bank account or attaching your wages. So protect yourself. You can change your address on file with the IRS several different ways. 1, correct the address legibly on the mailing label that comes with your tax package. But nobody's using the paper anymore, are they? Write the new address in the appropriate boxes on your tax return and use Form 8822 Change of Address to submit an address or name change anytime during the tax year. Make sure that IRS has written notification of the new address by writing to the IRS Center where you file your tax return. Be sure to include your full name, the old and the new addresses, your Social Security number or employer identification number if it's a business, and your signature. If you filed a joint return, be sure to include the information for both of you. If you filed a joint return and you split up, then both taxpayers should notify the IRS separately of each of your own new addresses. If an IRS employee contacts you about your account, you may be able to provide the information verbally. Incidentally, if you are corresponding with the IRS already, make sure you send this change of address to everyone with whom you're corresponding. It will take a while to get updated in the system. They may not have it immediately, and import mail may get lost. Step number 2, notify your employer. Be sure to notify your employer of the new address or your former employers during the year so that you can get your W-2. 3, notify the post office. If you change your address after you filed your return, don't forget to notify the post office at your old address so your mail can be forwarded. In fact, what you may want to do is keep some of those change of address cards and send them to the post office every 3 months for the first year so that you gather all of your missing mail. 4, if you're making estimated tax payments throughout the year, mail a completed Form 8822 Change of Address form or write to the IRS campus where you're filing your tax return. You can use the old pre-printed label vouchers until IRS sends you new ones with your new address. However, don't correct the address on the old voucher. 5, the Postal Service. The IRS does use the Postal Service's change of address files to update taxpayers' addresses, but don't rely on them. It's still a good idea to notify the IRS directly. Remember, if you don't notify IRS and they don't hear from you, if you don't get your notices, you could find yourself in a world of trouble. Visit irs.gov for more information about changing your address, and at irs.gov you'll also find the address of the IRS Center where you file your tax return, and you can download the Form 8822 Change of Address form at TaxMama.com or at irs.gov.